People say classics are boring. Okay, I need everyone to be honest for just a second. How many of you have looked at a classic novel, seen it was like 400 pages, written in that really tiny font, and immediately thought, absolutely not? Yeah, me too. I used to think classics were just old rich people being mildly inconvenienced for 600 pages. I assumed every chapter was basically, oh dear, I couldn't possibly, perhaps tomorrow, repeat until somebody dies. It turns out I was spectacularly wrong because one day I accidentally read one. And friends, these people are absolute disasters. Not in a fun reality TV kind of way, but in a I desperately need everyone in this book to attend one therapy session together kind of way. Like, seriously. Every classic novel is basically built on three things. Why? Who approved this? One accidental hand touch, and suddenly I'm clutching my blanket like, oh my God, they're basically engaged. Meanwhile, I accidentally make eye contact with someone at Costco and spend the next 15 minutes hiding behind the frozen vegetables because apparently that's my fight or flight response. Classics aren't boring. They're slow. There's a difference. It's like cooking chili in a crock pot. Nothing seems to be happening. Nothing, small nothing. And then suddenly, everybody's crying. Someone's engaged. Someone has tuberculosis. A letter arrives. And my blood pressure is suddenly through the roof. Honestly, Jane Austen would have loved reality TV. You cannot convince me otherwise, because underneath all the corsets, the manners, and all that tea, it's just people making terrible life choices with excellent vocabulary. Today, we're exposing all of them because classics, they're not literature. They're gossip with better grammar. Welcome back to the Litdulterous Whore, the only place where fictional people can make terrible decisions, and somehow I'm still emotionally invested. If you're new here, hi, hello, I'm Stacey. I read books, I overanalyze fictional people, and occasionally I yell at them as if they can actually hear me. It's healthy. Probably. If you're already part of this wonderfully chaotic little community, welcome back. Grab your emotional support beverage because today, I'm talking about classics, which means there will be yearning. There will be emotional constipation. There will be enough miscommunication to power an entire season of reality TV. Before we start, you hit that like button, subscribe button, leave me a comment telling me the classic that completely changed your mind or the one you absolutely hated, because I'm not here to judge. Unless you say Pride and Prejudice is boring, then we may have to schedule a conversation. All right, let's do it. Now, what even makes a classic? First of all, who decided something becomes a classic? Is there a secret meeting somewhere that I'm not privy to? Do they gather in an old library once a year? Congratulations, everyone. This one's depressing enough. Stamp of approval. Now it's a classic. Because honestly, half the books we read in high school, I wasn't emotionally prepared enough to appreciate them. I wasn't thinking about the symbolism. I was thinking, is this going to be on a test? Now, I'm reading those same books thinking, everyone needs therapy. Guys, that's growth. The official definition is basically that these books have stood the test of time. They've influenced other literature. They're culturally important. But personally, I think a classic is just a book where nobody says what they're actually feeling for like 300 pages. Feelings? Nope. Silence? Ding. Regret? Ding. Letter arrives? Ding. Emotional collapse? Ding, ding, ding. And here's what kills me. These people are feeling everything. And I do mean everything. You know, those moments where they're lying in bed at 2 a.m. replaying a conversation from 2018. That's every classic character. All day. Every day. They're not emotionally unavailable. They're emotionally overclocked. They've just decided communication is illegal. Imagine dating like this today. Your crush texts you, hey, you spent 6 months wondering what the hell they meant. Now that's a classic for you. Somebody smiles at you. Now both families assume there's a wedding, a handshake, congratulations on your engagement. Eye contact, straight to marriage. Holding hands, whoa, slow down there. This is Victorian England. We have standards. He looks at her for 6 consecutive seconds. The thing that cracks me up is that society in these books acts like the comment section on Facebook. Everybody has an opinion. Nobody was invited, but somehow they're all involved. Oh, did you hear she walked with him? Oh my goodness, pearl clutching without a chaperone? Karen, please calm down. Relax. He literally helped her over a puddle. So let's talk about communication, or more accurately, the complete lack of it. Because here's the thing. Every single problem in classic literature could be solved with one slightly uncomfortable conversation. One! That's all I'm asking. Imagine this. Let me set the scene. Elizabeth Bennet, Mr. Darcy, a coffee shop, 10 minutes. Boom, done, dusted, roll those credits. Instead, we get 300 pages of, well, perhaps he hates me. What? Where did you get that from? Did they tell you that they hated you? No. Did they even hint at it? No. Did they blink? That's it, they blinked. And suddenly, we're planning an emotional funeral. Meanwhile, I'm literally sitting on my couch yelling, ask a follow-up question. These people don't clarify anything, ever. Character 1 says, I hope you're happy. Character 2 hears, they've cursed my entire bloodline. What? How did we get there? Where was that leap? That's Olympic level overthinking. And honestly, I can't even judge too hard because I once spent 3 days wondering if someone ended a text with a period because they were mad at me. Turns out we're all just over 40. No offense to everyone else over 40 because I'm over 40. We're all just trying our best over here. This character says, I wish you every happiness. Translation, I have loved you since chapter 3 and this is emotionally destroying me. Can we also talk about the pacing? Because classics move like someone is trying to download a movie on dial-up. You spend 150 pages watching people walk, have a visit, drink some tea, look out a window. Let's take another walk, visit another person, drink more tea, empty your bladder, think about their feelings. Never discuss those feelings and repeat. And here's the weird part. You're somehow completely invested. Nothing has actually happened. Not technically anyway, but emotionally, you feel like you've run a bloody marathon. Because now Susan looked at James for 2 seconds longer than usual, and suddenly I'm texting my friends, I think something's about to happen. Nothing's happening. They're literally eating biscuits, but somehow it feels like foreplay. Oh, and let's discuss the letters, because apparently Victorian England ran entirely on handwritten emotional damage. Every plot twist arrives in an envelope. every confession. An envelope, every misunderstanding. In an envelope, every devastating revelation also came in an envelope. Why? Just walk over there. They literally are 3 houses away. Imagining openness with all the drama in the world. Breaking the wax seal, your heart's racing, only to read, "Can we meet tomorrow?" Sir, you made a horse carry this, and don't even get me started on delivery times, because someone writes a letter, 3 days pass, then another 2, then someone gets sick, the weather changes, then your entire future depends on whether Greg remembered to saddle the horse. Oh, imagine if book talk reviews worked this way. Dear reader, I have completed 4th wing. My opinions shall reach you in approximately 11 business days. A woman received 2 letters this week. Collective Victorian gasp. The social rules are honestly my favorite part because the consequences make absolutely no sense. You smile too much. Oh, scandal. You danced with the same man twice. Scandal. You accidentally existed in the wrong room. Believe it or not, also a scandal. Convicting of vibing. Sentence. Lifetime of gossip. Imagine explaining this to somebody today. So, what happened? Well, I walked beside a man outside for 7 minutes. And now my aunt thinks I'll never recover socially. Like, honestly, TikTok comment sections are less judgmental than that aunt. He escorted her home. Translation. They walked in the same direction. You know what really gets me going, though? Everyone's reputation is apparently made of wet tissue paper. One rumor, gone. One awkward interaction, gone. One slightly longer conversation, oh, you're ruined. Meanwhile, celebrities today survive 12 scandals before they've eaten breakfast. Victorian society would have exploded if Instagram existed. Can you imagine? Mr. Darcy liked those photos. Delete this immediately. Unfollow him, Elizabeth. The absolute funniest part for me, half these characters creating these rumors don't even know what's really happening. They're just making educated guesses. Actually, not even educated. Just guesses. Imagine if your neighborhood Facebook group ran the entire country. That's classic literature. Someone sneezes. 30 minutes later, everyone believes they're secretly engaged. So if you're reading a classic for the first time, here's my advice. Don't rush it. Don't wait for explosions. Don't expect chapter 3 to completely change your life. Watch for the tiny moments, the almost smiles, those weird, awkward pauses, the conversations when nothing happens at all, but somehow everything is happening, because that's where classics quietly hook you. And before you know it, you're emotionally invested in 2 people who have shared exactly 6 sentences over 200 pages. But don't worry, it happens to the best of us. Welcome to the first annual Classic Trope Olympics, where everyone loses emotionally. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Grab your tea, stretch your emotional support muscles, because today's competitors have been training for centuries. In lane 1, Miscommunication. Undefeated since approximately forever. In lane 2, Pining. The longest endurance sport known to mankind. Lane 3, Social Ruin. Sponsored entirely by nosy neighbours. And finally, the brooding man, who somehow won most emotionally available despite speaking 12 words all year. Let us begin. Miscommunication. Taking home the gold medal every single time. Miscommunication. Not war. Not illness. Not villains. Just people refusing to ask one very simple follow-up question. Imagine this conversation, if you will. I heard you were leaving. Yes. I thought you hated me. What? I've spent the last 6 months crying. I went to visit my aunt. Roll credits. Book finished. Everyone just goes home. But no. Instead, they choose suffering. Every single time. Yeah! 5 stars. Chapter 1 says, I understand. Character 2 hears, they despise my existence. Where are we getting this information from? Who started this rumor? Your imagination? Because your imagination needs to calm the hell down. And then, instead of asking, they leave town. 4 months. I don't even ghost people that dramatically. Let's talk about the Victorian conflict resolution. Step 1, assume the worst. Step 2, leave. Step 3, cry. Half these books would have been 20 pages long if someone had simply said, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? Event 2, pining. Now entering the arena, the undisputed heavyweight champion. Pining. Oh, my goodness. Nobody pines like a classic character. I think I like them. I have admired them from a respectful distance since the Harvest Festival of 1817. Calm down! These people don't have crushes. They have emotional careers. Years of staring, thinking, longing, said person staring out of a rain-covered window, staring across the ballroom, staring over the ocean, staring into the fireplace. Person staring at another person staring. At some point, you're not pining anymore. You've just committed to the lifestyle. Get a hobby. Learn some embroidery. Take up bird watching. Do literally anything else. And don't even get me started on the internal monologues. I shall never speak of this. I must bury these feelings forever. This love will remain hidden until my dying breath. Why? Just say hello. I hope your family is well. Translation. I'm hopelessly in love with you. Then they finally have a conversation. I don't know, about weather. And somehow I'm kicking my feet. I'm smiling. I'm holding my blanket extra tight, thinking to myself, they're definitely going to get married. Nothing has happened. They discuss clouds. Oh my God, I need help. Event number 3, social ruin. Now, we move to my personal favorite, social ruin, otherwise known as Victorian people making absolutely everything everybody else's business. Imagine this, if you will. You laugh too loudly. Oh, that would be me. Scandal. You accept a second dance. Scandal. You accidentally make prolonged eye contact. Straight to scandal. You breathe slightly flirtatiously. Believe it or not, that is a scandal. Convicted of vibing. Sentence. Permanent gossip. Meanwhile, today, people post themselves crying on TikTok. Victorian England would have burst into flames. Can you imagine Instagram? Miss Bennet updated her story. 37 neighbours. I knew she was trouble. And every rumour starts the exact same way. I probably shouldn't say anything, but oh no! You're about to say everything. The entire town somehow knows your business before you do. Who's leaking this information? Is there a Victorian group chat? Who invited everybody? It'll be like this, okay? The Ton chat. Lady Catherine. Did you see them walking together? Miss Bennet. Typing. 27 unread messages. Honestly, Facebook neighborhood groups could never. Ladies, gentlemen, book talk. Let's discuss the broody man. Oh, God, he is everywhere. He's in every century. And somehow he always looks the exact same way. Mr. Darcy, Heathcliff, even Edward Cullen, a Bridgerton Duke, random Pinterest guy leaning against a stone wall. Different century, same pose. He's not mysterious. He's emotionally constipated. There's a difference. He says one rude thing, disappears for 80 pages, shows up looking sad. Suddenly everyone loses their mind. Sir, have you considered smiling? He never says, I really care about you. Instead, he'll say something like, I found your comments acceptable. And somehow we find that hotter. Explain! He writes one emotional letter. One! The internet healed. No, he's made progress, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. I greatly esteem you. Translation, I would fight a bear for you. The bar for these men is honestly underground. He communicated once. Congratulations. There's your character development. And yet, every single time, I fall for it. Every single time. Because eventually, he says that one vulnerable sentence, looks slightly less angry, and suddenly I'm sitting there like, oh no, he's actually trying. Okay, I have to admit something. As much as I make fun of classics, they have absolutely mastered one thing: romance. I'm not talking flashy romance. Not we met on page 12 and were naked by chapter 6. No. Classics looked at modern pacing and said, what if we made them wait? And somehow it works. Because in classics, a hand touch isn't just a hand touch. It's 6 months of stolen glances, awkward conversations, unsent letters, emotional damage that finally pays off. Chapter 4, they kiss. Mwah. Chapter 7, they fall in love. Oh. Chapter 10, someone's been kidnapped. Chapter 47, their sleeves accidentally brush. Me, oh my God, it's happening. Cup of tea. They go for a walk. More tea. The accidental hand touching. Emotional fireworks. And don't laugh, because you know exactly what I'm talking about. By the time those fingers touch, you're celebrating like your favorite hockey team just won the championship. Over a hand. The yearning should be studied. Honestly, it should be studied. Nobody yearns like classic characters. These people are professional athletes. They're standing across a ballroom, looking at each other for approximately 3 business days. Then someone says, good evening. And suddenly, I'm giggling. Why? Nothing's happened. Literally nothing's happened. Good evening translates into, I've thought about you every day for 8 months. It's ridiculous. And somehow I completely buy into it because the anticipation keeps building. Every conversation matters. Every smile matters. Every pause matters. Every accidental meeting matters. There are no wasted moments. They're laying tiny little emotional bricks until suddenly you're standing in front of an entire relationship. Classics make you enjoy the journey. Now, does the journey occasionally take 300 pages? Yeah, it does. There are moments where I'm sitting there thinking, if these two don't hold hands soon, I'm going to personally enter this book. I don't care if I ruin the timeline. I'm doing an intervention. It would be, hi, my name's Stacey. I'd like everyone to sit down. We're going to use our words today. Okay? Words. But can we appreciate how absolutely unhinged readers have become? Because after 200 pages, the smallest things feel enormous. He smiled. I screamed. She sat beside him. I screamed louder. They shared one umbrella. Oh my God, I'm cancelling plans. I'm emotionally unavailable for the rest of this goddamn evening. And if you've ever read classics, this probably sounds absolutely ridiculous. I know. I hear myself. But then you read one, and suddenly you're going to be texting your friend. They almost touched hands. Like you're reporting breaking news. Local hands almost touch. Now, my favorite part is when they finally admit how they feel. After all that waiting, all that silence, all that longing, they finally say it. I have long admired you. Sir, that's it? That's the line? I waited 300 pages for the literary equivalent of I think you're neat. And somehow I melt anyway, because I know what it took for them to say it. In their world, that's basically standing on a rooftop with a boombox. That's why classics still work. The emotions feel earned, not rushed, not forced, earned. Even if I wanted to throw the book across the room about 17 million times first. And then, right when you think everything's going to be okay, finally, someone misunderstands something. Again. No, again. We're back to Miscommunication, the undefeated champion. See? Everything comes back to communication. Every single time. Honestly, if I could travel into one fictional universe, it wouldn't be to meet Mr. Darcy. It would be to hand everyone a relationship counselor, a therapist, and maybe add them to a group chat. Imagine how fast these books would end. Actually, you know what? Scrap that. Don't imagine that. Because then we'd lose all the drama. And apparently, I love drama. Which brings us to the biggest reason classics survive. They're messy. Not because the writing's messy, but because the people are messy. And 200 years later, we're still making the exact same mistakes. We're just doing them over text instead of handwritten letters. Okay, we still need to discuss something important. The drama. Because classics do not believe in small problems. No. Absolutely not. A normal person's problem. I think we need to have a conversation. A classic novel problem. I shall disappear into the countryside and question my entire existence. These characters wake up every morning and choose chaos. They look at peace and say, oh, no thank you. I would rather ruin my own happiness through pride and misunderstanding. But let's be honest. Half the villains in classics are not even villains. It's pride. Assumptions. Some really, really bad timing. Someone overhearing half a conversation. That's it. That's the enemy. Miscommunication. Ding, 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 ding. A billion stars. Someone hears one sentence. Not even the whole sentence. Half. And immediately, well, my life is over. What? Excuse me? You heard she was with him. You did not hear she was with him because he was helping her carry a piano down 3 flights of stairs. Context matters. Man assists woman with furniture. Victorian society, absolutely unacceptable. And the physical drama, oh my goodness. Someone receives shocking news. Faint. Someone experiences sadness. Faint. Someone sees a letter. Double faint. Someone hears someone say, we need to talk. Prepare the chaise lounge. Honestly, I have questions. Are these people okay? Do they need a doctor? Or do they just need a nap? My professional Victorian medical diagnosis? Sadness. Treatment? Lay down! Someone coughs once and suddenly everybody's planning a funeral. She has a cough. Oh no! Is it serious? She coughed twice. Call everyone! Meanwhile today, people go to work with a fever and a coffee. Different times, I guess. But here's where I will defend classics. Because the women were doing the work. Seriously. They were living in worlds where their choices were limited, their reputations controlled. Society had rules for literally breathing incorrectly. And somehow they still found ways to be powerful. Because these women didn't always get to be loud. They didn't always get to fight. They didn't always get to walk away. So they learned something else. Precision. They learned how to say everything without saying everything. A classic woman says, I'm not entirely certain that is wise. Translation. That is the dumbest thing I have ever heard, but unfortunately, I have manners. Polite sentence, absolute destruction. And honestly, respect, because I don't know if I could do it. Someone says something ridiculous today, and I'm like, okay, so we're all pretending that wasn't stupid. Apparently, I would not survive in a ballroom. These women carried entire stories. They were navigating bad proposals, impossible expectations, people judging every decision they ever made, and still trying to build lives that they actually wanted. And that's what makes them so interesting. Because they're not perfect. They're stubborn. They make mistakes. They do some chronic overthinking. They get emotional. Basically, they're human. Because honestly, maybe they don't need therapy. Maybe they just needed a world where they were allowed to say exactly how they felt. So, after all my complaining, after making fun of everyone, after saying these people need communication skills, why do we still love classics? Because underneath everything, they're still about us. The clothes may have changed. The technology has definitely changed. The rules have been adjusted, but people stay people. We still overthink text, replay conversations, wonder if someone meant something completely different. Wished we had said the thing we were too scared to say. The only difference of today, they wrote dramatic letters. We send, hey, are you mad? 1815, my heart has been troubled since our last encounter. 2026, okay. Honestly, maybe we've improved. Maybe we haven't. But that's why classics have survived, because the feelings are timeless. The anxiety, same. The longing, same. The bad decisions, absolutely the same. They just had corsets, carriages, and way more dramatic furniture. And let's be honest, everything is funnier when someone is doing it on a fainting couch. If you're like me and you have loved classics as a much older adult, let me know in the comments. I'd love to know which classic novel won you over to the classic side, or if you've never really dabbled, which book would you like to try? Let me know in the comments. I hope that you have the reading week you deserve, readers, and I will catch you next week. Take care.